You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 30th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Special Meeting. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. Today is Monday, December 30th, 2024, and we are in the Michigan City Common Council chambers. Our roll call: Sherry Wilson, here. Tracy Tillman, present. Sheila Matthias is present. Clarence Hulse,
Present.
Bill Gertner,
Here.
Thomas Domkowski is absent, and he is a non-voting member. We have just a few orders of business today. First, we have the approval of the amended salary order for the Redevelopment Commission, Department of Redevelopment. Alan, would you like to
do the resolution before that, because I think that has to come first.
Okay.
There's number 5 on the.
Oh, all right. We're going to reorganize the agenda. The non-TIF money resolution will come before the approval of the salary order. So at this time, I would appreciate a motion and a second for the resolution establishing salaries and designated funding for 2 employees of the Department of Redevelopment for fiscal year 2025.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the salary order, and then we will go through the details.
Let's go through comment now.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So in years past, we have done salary orders, which quite frankly, I do not understand how that was. I think it was basically just given to us from the mayor's office. This was done within the city, and these were certain positions that were paid for, but they were paid and reimbursed by CDBG funding. And so our current mayor asked the question, why do we use other sources of money to pay for redevelopment commission or redevelopment commission staff members? Why don't we use redevelopment money for that and move that around? The one kicker why we couldn't do that is because the statute clearly states that TIF money generated during the course of a project cannot be used for operational costs. So that takes care of one aspect, but the other aspect of the law says non-TIF money or money generated from TIF funds. And the easiest way to look at that is all the interest we generate from TIF money that's collected. That interest that's collected is not considered to be TIF money and therefore can be used for operational costs. So once that was researched out, then we have then come up with the salary order that you have for 2 positions, and I guess there will be a 3rd position too, which has been anyway. The mayor can better explain the actual details of that. That's how we got to this.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor.
So, and I think you were correct, Attorney Siranek, we did not have to include CDBG on here. This is really about the resolution. So one of the things I've been working on is our planning department's restructuring and what that looks like for redevelopment, and determine that we need to split planning and redevelopment, those functions, because our planning department, we need to bolster it as we're growing. We got a lot of permitting things and a new software system, and then all the projects that we have going on. What I found is that probably more than 75% of Skylar's time is spent on redevelopment. And so we know as a city that our planning department, we need more inspectors, we need a lot of different things. So I started researching how can we make that happen and where am I going to find the funds for it? And working with Baker Tilly over the course of about a month, going back and forth, asking a lot of questions, this was the best way and the best solution is to utilize interest from our TIF funds. So the resolution that you have before you is to for the appropriation for the money so that we can get it to the council to appropriate the money. But the second part of that And you were right, is that you're gonna have to amend this to remove CDBG.
Right.
Because the focus is really on the redevelopment business manager and the director of redevelopment. So it's for the salary and benefits for those two employees, but also the cost for operations. And that in that list is the board commissioners pay. Also some of the supplies and different things. That's what the 27,200, when you get to that, that's what's included. So when you get to the actual salary ordinance, I would just somebody would amend it to remove the CDBG. CDBG is just a part of that department of redevelopment. So there's two things. There's this piece, which is the funding for those two positions. And then there's the department that we use from a city administrative function that includes CDBG, their specialists, but that money does not come from redevelopment at all. So you don't have to approve that. These are the two positions you have to approve because it's funding that's generated from the redevelopment as TIF money, the interest. So, but again, we're splitting out those departments just for better fiscal responsibility, but also to make sure that these departments are bolstered. The planning department, we're going to be posting a planning director position. We posted the director of public works position already. We're also adding a permit tech specialist. So, I mean, we are really focused on how we're going to move the city forward and making sure that we provide good customer service. And this is the way to do it, and splitting those two departments out.
Thank you.
So the salary order, then just doing the quick math, is we will take out the two positions that are identified there, the CDBG director and the housing rehab, and the corresponding figures of 66, 272, 40 and 55, 156, 32. So what you will be approving is a salary order for those two positions plus the miscellaneous costs, as the mayor spoke about, for a total cost of 263, 121.50.
And I believe, is that in your resolution as well? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So we'll approve the resolution first that basically is taking the position, doing something we've never done before, but that is taking the non-TIF money generated by TIF money to pay for the two positions plus the miscellaneous cost for redevelopment cost operations, both to address the issues that the mayor was saying, but also doing so while being in compliance with the law.
Great, thank you. So I would entertain a motion that outlines exactly what Alan just said.
Basically, we're approving first thing we're doing is approving resolution number 5-24, I believe. Yeah, you have my copy.
Yep.
5-24, which basically is that allowing us to expend non-TIF money generated by TIF money for operational expenses. That's the shortest way to say it.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So because we have some members that are here virtually, we're going to do a roll call vote. Sheila Matthias, yes. Clarence Hulse,
Yes.
Bill Gertner,
Yes.
Sherry Wilson,
Yes.
Tracy Tillman.
Aye.
We have 5 members in favor, 0 opposed. The resolution has passed. Thank you. Next, we want to do the salary order that has been amended. The salary order that is in your packet has an incorrect figure now. The figure that we are looking to approve is $263,121.50, which will cover the new department salary request. This is requested by the mayor and approved thus far with the resolution that we've all passed. So a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to pass the salary order as amended to $263,121.50 for the Department of Redevelopment. Sherry Wilson,
Aye.
Tracy Tillman,
Aye.
Sheila Matias, aye. Clarence Hulse,
Aye.
Bill Gertner.
Aye.
All members have voted in the affirmative. The salary order has passed. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Mayor, for your explanation. This department, since we are intimately involved with planning and redevelopment work, we support the reorganization in a big way. I think it's as the city's growing, the need is critical. All right, next on our agenda, we have Tryon Meadows Housing Project. Mr. Cernak,
You want to do job descriptions first or not? I have nothing to do with that one.
you want me to do the non-TIF?
If you want to, well, no, the descriptions is the next one on the list there. You know, we're going to be flying.
Oh, I see. Okay, so okay. Approval of job descriptions. Sorry about that. My paperwork's not in order. We have new job descriptions for the new department positions. We need to approve the job descriptions. Do I have a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented?
A motion to approve job descriptions as they've been presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Sherry Wilson,
Aye.
Tracy Tillman,
Aye.
Sheila Matias, aye. Clarence Hulse,
Aye.
Bill Gertner.
Aye.
The job descriptions have been approved by the Department of the Redevelopment Commission. All right, next we will go to
Tryon Meadow Development.
Tryon Meadows Development.
The developer, John Kohovic, how do you say that? John, that's why I call you John all the time. But John is on, I think the first thing, with your permission,
there he
is
is.
we will let them do a presentation first. Did you get those to us, John? Were they delivered, the hard copies?
They were, yeah. Our project manager brought them to the planning office. Did you guys not get them?
But you got
I
the one
don't,
that
I know, I've not been there, sorry.
I got the one you sent and that's what I saw.
Did you get anything delivered to the office? There's something on his chair, I can go grab it. All right, while we're doing that, John, if you want to go home and if you want to go through the presentation in terms of what this development is about and how we're doing it.
Do you guys want me to ask specifically who we gave them to? Would that help or no?
No, Kyle just went upstairs. He said, yeah, package came in.
He's gonna grab them.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I'm sure they laid them on my chair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I should share my screen, correct?
Correct.
Okay, share. Perfect, share. All right, do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you. May I start, or may we start?
Yes, please start.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to catch up and learn more about the development. I believe most of you hopefully have learned a lot up to this date, but we're here to answer any questions and just go over everything, the latest plan and our goals. We wish everyone an upcoming Happy New Year as well. And thank you again for having us. So with that, I will just start on the intro to the community and to us. So the community will be called Tryon Meadow, and it's a venture between myself and my partner Gary, who's here with me. We love LaPorte County. We love Michigan City. We're currently developing, as most of you probably know, the Hunter Woods subdivision in neighboring LaPorte, which is about 160 units, consisting of rentals, single-family homes, townhomes. So we're not new to the area. Most of you know me, but to those who don't, my background. I'm based in Chicago. My background has been in the institutional investing space at places like Goldman Sachs and Carlyle. Helped run a several billion-dollar fund, and I've also developed several projects in Chicago as well as Northwest Indiana. And then here's my partner Gary, who will give you a little bit of a quick intro on himself.
Hello, Gary Hinch. I'm president and owner of Redstone Homes, co-owner. We've been in business 27 years. We do condominiums, rental properties, senior housing. A little bit, if it's residential, we do it. We've built over 2,000 condos and single-family homes, probably about 500 rental units. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And there's the outline of kind of our growth since 1997 when we started business. So we've enjoyed our time down in northern Indiana. I think it's been great to work with everybody that we've worked with in LaPorte County. So we appreciate the opportunity. My background, I'm a CPA. I'm not a construction guy. I'm not a builder per se. So I'm more of the finance guy and I'm a CPA.
Great. And
Thank you.
hopefully you can see that, the growth of Redstone Group has just been, really exponential. And that's why I think, we've had a great partnership in Indiana, filling the gap, which exists for, production developers, builders of workforce, housing. So that kind of leads me to my next point, which is, all of you guys know where the subject parcel is here. It's on Tryon Road, not far from Shady Creek Winery, next to the Mayfield Prairie subdivision. It's 39 acres. Currently the zoning is R1B, but we would anticipate that, if this parcel will get rezoned to accommodate the density that we need. We also anticipate that at least 75% of the available units will cater to households at 80 to 120% of AMI. That's in the Economic Development Agreement. And we think that this community that we're proposing is quite unique because it caters to a diverse set of living experiences in one area. So townhomes, single family homes, as well as two-story rental buildings. So here is the current site plan. It's I think it's really unique because we have rental buildings both on the north and south parts of the site. And then we have a really nice separation between the for sale and rental units on the north side, where we have actually a pond on the furthest north side, and then a pond in the middle. So it ebbs and flows really nicely because the two ponds serve as visual buffers and points of interest. And then we also are able to accommodate a really nice, diverse product type within one residential community. So the other thing I'll mention is these products are substantially similar to those that we've built before, both in Indiana and in Michigan. So, given that, Redstone has built thousands of homes before, hopefully you guys can rest assured that our execution risk is minimal. So I'll walk you through I think a lot of you have seen these already, both on our website and also in our other developments, but the townhomes that we will be building here are typically 1,800 square feet. So nice big townhomes, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, high quality construction, quartz countertops, nice plumbing fixtures, chrome plumbing fixtures, GE appliances, great lighting, both in the kitchen areas, bedrooms, bathrooms. And, it's really for somebody that, has a family or somebody that's living with some roommates and working for some local companies. It really caters to a lot of buyers because this is a pretty large unit, and we're grouping them in groups of 4 units per building, which also creates like a nice sense of real community. And then when as it relates to the 38 single family home lots, we are going above the minimum required widths for R1D zoning, which we think would apply to these, given that it's the same zoning as Mayfield Prairie. The reason we're going a little bit wider is just, we want to make sure that we can accommodate a large variety of floor plans. And with our experience and our in-house designing and architecture team, you can rest assured that there will be quite interesting floor plans. Some of them with like rear-loaded garages, others with garages on the side. I've put in here just kind of a few examples, but those will be really refined as buyers come in and as the community grows. So we wanted you to see that this is not just like a copy and paste community. This is like we've put already a lot of thought into elevations, and that also goes into the rental elevations. So all of the rental buildings are 2 stories, which we've received feedback that, that's really nice for that area. We don't want it to look like Manhattan over there. So it really creates a livable factor. And they have spacious 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So 700 to 1,100 square feet. We think this is a really good size units for renters of again, it could be families, could be single men and women that are working at local firms. And we will have a range of premium finishes there with LVT flooring and open plan design, stainless steel appliances. And we do have in-house property management to really allow for really efficient lease up. And we are long-term holders of these rental properties. So everything that we do is really long-term focused to make sure that it's a benefit for the community long-term, and there's no risks with building execution. So the public and community benefit obviously is very large for a development like this. Right now there's nothing on the land. There was like some soybean crops. So this is night and day of what can happen. So I think the ripple effect is huge. Clearly Michigan City needs housing. It needs workforce, accessibly priced housing. These are estimates right now, but we've done a really good job, I think, of looking at our costs, and even taking aside the infrastructure costs, which are like 6 million. The other costs outside of infrastructure are like 44 million. That's pretty conservative. I think they're going to actually come in higher. So, and labor is traditionally in our developments like around 40% of costs. So, looking at kind of the ripple effects that a reputable organization like the NAHB has done, the annual impact of like 100 new homes to an area is over 5 million in income and about 3.4 million in income for 100 new rental apartments. So, and that even excludes local property taxes. So we think that both offering, accessibly priced housing and, creating a diverse community is something that's really, positive for Michigan City. We can go over like the capital stack. You guys can go over that on your own. But just kind of giving you kind of a sense of how much the entire project costs on the right, easily over 50 million. That's consisting of acquisition costs, site work costs, vertical costs, soft costs. And, right now our first phase is anticipated to be site work for probably like the majority of the for sale section. And then starting with 16 single family homes, we obviously hope that, as demand comes in, we'll be able to really, really ramp up the production. And we hope to at least sell the for sale part easily, hopefully within like 4 to 5 years. The key thing for us is like really, and the city has done this so far, is to like help us move as quickly as possible so we can offer housing as quickly as possible. So right now the proposed project timeline is Q1. Obviously there's going to be some time that we need to do the plat approvals and zoning changes and bond agreement, but I would hope to start site work, clearing and grading and things like that in Q2, and then, start on the water sewer storm in Q3, maybe even late Q2. It depends how quickly you guys can let us move. And then, starting vertical in the last quarter of this year, and then starting sales, first quarter of 2026. Ideally, we can even move faster than this, but for us, like there's really nothing that prevents us from moving, really quickly. So we appreciate, all the partnership and goodwill that the city has offered so far. And we hope that we can earn your trust in solid execution. So for us to, move forward, as we've discussed before, we're putting in front of you guys the TIF pledge and economic development agreement to create a housing TIF area for the single family homes and townhomes, and then a commercial TIF area for the rentals. And we also asked that, as I kind of alluded to before, anything that can be done to help us move efficiently for the rezoning of the property, and then finalizing the bond agreement to ensure maximum efficiency and speed to market. So that's kind of what we're asking. Project infrastructure costs make or break the project. We wouldn't be in front of you today if the numbers made sense with us, paying for all the infrastructure. So we really need help to make sure that, we can provide enough units that are accessibly priced and for workforce housing. And the answer to that is helping cover the infrastructure costs. So we thank you for your time, and we're here to answer any questions anyone might have.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? Ms. Tillman?
Thank you. I'm just a little concerned in regards to the presentation in regards to, I understand that these are long-term focuses. And to me, it's a little skimmed over when it comes to discussing workforce housing. I understand you have the 128 units, and you put the emphasis on single family housing units and things of that nature. But is there any way that there could be more specific, or some of those rental units to be specific set for workforce housing? Which as an incentive for the city as far as for recruiting for employment, doctors, nurses, teachers, police, fire, things of that nature, or executives. That's more specific that that some of these units are for workforce housing.
Sure, it's a great question, and apologies if I haven't spent enough time on that. I just wanted to be as efficient with your time so we could have more time for questions like that. And I think the answer to that is both quantitative and qualitative. So on the quantitative part, we made sure that we sized our floor plans, we sized the lots, we sized the density to really cater to households at that 80% to 120% of AMI. Levels. So, the product offerings that will be here, whether it's the rentals or the single family homes, the site density was made such that it would cater to those workforce housing and buyers or renters. So, these aren't going to be even close to very high priced, expensive homes. We're making sure, and that's in our development agreement, that 75% of available units will cater to households at 80 to 120% of AMI. And then on kind of more the qualitative part, we made sure that our marketing will be focused on making sure that we really stress that people are really getting space for a reasonable cost, and that goes both for the single family and townhome for sale component and the rental component. So these are not going to be like luxury. This is not a luxury development. This is a workforce development, and that has been true from the beginning. And that's why I don't know if Skylar or anyone else wants to speak to this, but I think the density here that the site accommodates is designed for the workforce and buyer or renter.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to that. You're correct, John. The density is right. We also wanted to make sure we had a mix of uses and a mix of products with respect to apartments, townhomes, single family, to offer up a variety, which is really something we're missing here. And then the other thing I would say is that what helps keep that price low is providing the TIF for the infrastructure costs. Also keep in mind, in the end, this we're building a city road. It'll be a city road. It'll be under the care of the city. The water department will basically come in, and they are providing they'll provide the construction costs. So that helps buy down the cost as well. Which with respect to, like, they build their own pipes, they lay their own pipes and build that infrastructure. So every little bit helps to keep the price points where we want them, in that 80 to 120, which is really where the workforce housing AMI falls.
Yeah, I would call it like kind of like the missing middle, if you will. I think there's really a shortage. We've done our own market analysis, and we've looked at the studies that LaPorte County has done. That I think Michigan City is doing one that's about to come out or has come out recently. But there's a huge shortage of homes at that workforce housing component. And like Skylar mentioned, and I mentioned before, the infrastructure costs really make or break the viability of the project. I don't think, if we didn't have this TIF, I think, the homes will be priced, 100,000 plus more per home. which would be just not accessible to workforce, to those AMI levels. And, you know, the reason those AMI levels are important again is, you know, the financing that's available from banks is really focused from us on those AMI levels, because it's very important that we get enough people that they can access financing for these units. And that's why we price them as such, so they would qualify at those AMI levels. And obviously, as you all know, it's no secret that, you know, interest rates have doubled in the last 3 years. So I think that we're doing everything we can on our end to make these accessible.
I would also say that you know, our participation in the project is what helps us get an agreement where you committed to the 75%. That helps. If we weren't involved in it, it would just be straight market rate for whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Hope that answered your question, Tracy. That was a great
It
question.
did.
Bill, you had a question or a comment?
I was just going to ask about the price points that you're proposing, if everything is approved as presented.
Sure. So the price points, you know, the plans that we're offering, like for the single family homes, will probably range from, you know, like 1,500 square feet to 2,000 square feet. So the price points that, you know, fall within those AMI ranges are probably in like the 350 to 450 price range, depending on, again, the product and the finishes that people want. And then townhomes will probably be also around like that, you know, 350 plus or minus range. And then we'll give, you know, because we have that production builder in-house expertise, we will be able to give people a really nice amount of options for floor plans and finishes. But those are kind of the rough price ranges. And then, you know, rentals, we're thinking like around like $2 a foot. Right now, those are our best estimates. Obviously, as the market evolves, as demand evolves, we'll see what happens. But, you know, like Skylar mentioned, and I'll re-emphasize this, there's no way that we could offer those kind of price levels if it wasn't for the, you know, for the TIF pledge. So we really appreciate, you know, you guys working with us to offer more workforce housing.
Great, thank you. One other quick question, on the sources and uses, that 1.5 million, the TIF value, does that include the infrastructure as well, the sewer, et cetera, or is that separate?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the cost of the infrastructure is a separate line item under the development uses summary. For funding sources, that's kind of our best estimate of how a like lender would approach or any capital provider would look at the, like, how much is the value of the TIF to help the developer source the funding. So using like a discount rate of like prime plus, I think we use prime plus 150 bips. We discounted the present value of the TIF that way, so we can use it as part of our funding sources. But the site work costs are separate in the development uses summary.
Thank you.
John, do you recall the cost of the infrastructure offhand? I believe it was close to 10 million.
Yeah, so like the present value, of the site, of the acquisition cost plus the infrastructure cost is like, I think between like 7 and 8 million. And obviously, you know, the present value of the TIF is, you know, when I say only, I mean that in a relative term, it's like only $1.5 million. So we're doing our best to really try to capture as much of the infrastructure cost as possible. And, you know, as you guys know, $1 today is not worth $1 in 20 years, and a TIF is a 20-year kind of agreement. So, you know, the present value of the TIF is way less than the present value of the infrastructure. But so the infrastructure is expensive, which is again why, you know, we're doing everything we can to provide workforce housing. The TIF definitely helps.
Go ahead,
I
Tracy.
just have one other question. What are you using for the AMI? What number are you using for the AMI?
So we're just using if you use like the Fannie Freddie AMI numbers, they're on the government website, they're right in front of me. But I'd be happy to, you know, share those. But we're just going off of what lenders use, which is what you know, the quasi-government agencies, Fannie Freddie, use.
Okay, thank you.
So, my comment, I'm struggling, I'm glad the mayor is here. To do a TIF around a residential development is just a little bit of a bone in my craw, and I'm trying to get over it. But the only thing that's helping me get over it is workforce housing, to your point. To, traditionally, we have had the sanitary district, bond out for infrastructure costs because it opens up a whole area of the city for development. It's not specific to this project. It will enable development of all kinds in that area of the city where there is no service now. So water, the same thing. Normally, the water department would bond out for a huge, huge project growth. But to make a commitment for 20 years around the TIF is just that's a really long term commitment, and it also is we're committing taxpayer dollars to repairs and I just I'm I guess I would feel a little bit better if it was done through two of the two taxing units we have, the water department and the sanitary district. I understand from the developer's perspective, they're able to leverage the TIF to gain their access to funding. But again, the city's made prior mistakes going with people whose pockets are not deep enough and don't have access to the cash that they need. So when I saw hardscape is part of the commitment and landscaping, I'm struggling with that to be really honest. We do need workforce housing, so I can see that that's a worthy commitment because we want to make sure that the people who live here now, who have jobs or want to have jobs here, have access to homes, and they have something to work for. I get that, but I'm just a residential TIF for one project is just a little bit hard for me. So Mayor, convince me.
Well, I support the way the actual project, and I'll say, talking about the other two taxing entities, I'm more confident in the redevelopment commission and its ability to do what we need for this project than I am right now with where I'm at with the other two
That's fair.
bodies.
Yeah, that's fair. I got it.
Yeah, so sanitary district, we're restructured. I feel good about where we're at. I just don't think we're ready for something like that. We're really been focusing on fiscal responsibility, accountability, and rebuilding there. I guess I do have a question though around AMI and Freddie and Fannie and all that. That doesn't necessarily mean the average, that's median household income, AMI. Ours is low.
Yeah.
For our county. So I mean, if we're using a national amount, I don't know.
It's by zip code.
By zip code, okay.
They have their own values for every zip code, yeah.
It just feels so high. I don't know why. It just even at 75% or 80%, I don't know two household incomes who can afford that from a workforce standpoint. So I'm just that would be my only concern. If I have a teacher and a police officer together, they're making about less than $100,000 a year. So I guess I'm just doing quick math and trying to make sure I understand that where we're at because I believe we need the workforce housing. I just when people in the public are going to see 350,000, that seems steep for most people who live here. So that would be the reason that would be my only concern. Would be around that. Around the TIF, not really concerned about that. I think this will be a great way to fund the project, especially around infrastructure right now. We know we're going to get our bang for the buck and continue to put money in the roads and the streets and all of that. So I feel good about that. I just think that people are going to see that price tag and have sticker shock. Not new people, possibly, but people who live here who want to upgrade, maybe so. So that would be my only concern.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're offering like a wide variety of floor plans, and that's kind of the edge we bring as a I call us a semi-production builder. We're going to basically be able to really meet with clients and see what is the floor plan that they'd like and what they can afford, and that's really something that I think we bring to the table. And it being a diverse community where we're able to offer products both to renters and to buyers is, I think, pretty powerful. I mean, you could have somebody that young family or young couple start in the rental part and move into the single family part of our community within a few years. So we're very flexible on the offerings that we have in the community and also even within floor plans. So we're very confident that we can cater to those AMIs.
And that was the only other thing I had too, was because we said $2 per square foot, even for rental. That's market rate here. If we're talking 1,000, nobody pays $2,000 for rent.
Right.
So I just want to make sure I express that is a concern. I think the highest rents that I've seen at some of these apartment complexes is like 1,500, and for a 3-bedroom, I had one before we moved into our house. So I just want to make sure that even on the rental piece that we're,
Sure.
we're where we're at. And I haven't seen any numbers. I don't try not to get involved in the specifics to keep an arm's length away, but that would be my only concern.
Yeah, and I was kind of more referring to like the smallest units. Obviously as the smaller the units are, the higher the per square foot rent is, and then as you get bigger, the lower it is. So those are just kind of some rough estimates. But yeah, on like the 2 bedrooms, they'll definitely be below that. I was kind of talking more about the 1 bedrooms there, but we'll definitely we have a pledge that we're making to fit those AMI criterias, and we will deliver on that.
Well, John and Gary, you're hearing our concern loud and clear is around making sure that it's affordable for people who currently live here, who are current residents. And with that in mind, that's why we're supporting the TIF resolution and agreement. But Mayor just made it really clear, and board members made it really clear that that's the pinch point for us, to make sure that we're supporting the ability for people who are working hard and want to stay in this community or live in this community, that there's a entry point for them.
Absolutely.
We understand.
Thank you.
Sheila,
Any other comments?
could I just add to, I'm sorry,
Sure.
my internet cut out as we started talking about the infrastructure.
Okay.
Perfect timing, right? Really, this is an excellent tool. The housing TIF is an excellent tool to build this infrastructure. Keep in mind, we're not just building a pipe; we're building a whole road, the whole kit and caboodle, from everything below the road to the top of asphalt. It's the whole thing. So, this is just a really powerful tool to be able to do that, and really, honestly, not strap the other departments with those financial debts. I don't know. It just seems like the redevelopment commission is the tool, or is the mechanism to really achieve this full build out of this road, and hence why we're doing it. I would just add that. I'm sure Mayor did an excellent job of explaining the situations we're in and things of that nature, but just wanted to add that's why we're. And I have talked to those departments about this development. I've spoke to city engineer. John's well aware of all. This will be a city standard. It will be a road built to city standard. All the pipe and infrastructure will be based on the city standard, and then it will all be dedicated so that in the end, it will become a full functional city road.
Thank you. A question to the developers: will fiber optic and electric and utilities be buried in the road as the road is constructed?
That's our base case. That's what we're doing in the neighboring subdivision in LaPorte, and I would expect that would be the same situation there.
Because that would be important. That area that the community has spotty computer,
Internet coverage.
fiber. Yeah, I'm trying to,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling well today, so I'm really struggling. But yeah,
Yeah.
fiber optic needs to be included in that.
Yeah.
We want to get fiber cable, any projects we do. Obviously, there has to be a provider that's willing to make the investment, so.
You know, we're working with Surf right now, and Surf is available in Michigan City from what we understand, and we've taken a pretty active approach with making sure that hopefully they can you know, accommodate the same thing we're doing next to you guys there.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Just a quick comment, if you don't mind. You know, there's a couple of things at hand. It's a chicken or the egg scenario. And I definitely agree with the developer standpoint of, you know, what you're going to get for $500,000, for example, brand new, is not what you remember. And that's what we're all being faced with. And then you talk about the AMI, or where those numbers come from, right? And they're actual figures. And I'm not saying we just have to figure out, we do have to figure out how to provide this type of housing within our community, or else other communities will find a way to do it. So I am in support of the development, but just wanted to kind of speak to what we thought was affordable before, and what it is now. All those things are changing very quickly, and we just have to be aware of those. And to me, without the infrastructure incentive, we don't have a project. That's just me personally. Thank you.
Thank you. So what do you need from us?
Madam Chair, I just want to say this is a project that the first time we're going to be using a housing tape in Michigan City. So this is a first for us. Typically in the past, we've done strictly commercial and industrial. So this is I guess our first test case in that regard. Housing is a big need in our community. As everybody knows, people will, when it's time to upgrade, they leave Michigan City. So I think this gives us an opportunity to compete with our neighbors to keep our residents and attract the ones who left to come back. So from my standpoint, we need to attract more people here, but also keep the ones we have. So this project, I think, will help us do that.
Thank you, Clarence.
Just a couple of things to say with respect to the agreement itself and the overall concept of developer-backed bonds. First of all, with developer-backed bonds, we are providing access to the developer for city funds by way of the developer-backed bonds. But what that means, though, is the fact that while we commit to at this point 100% pledge of the TIF revenue that's generated from the project, the other side of it is the fact that, and again, the world I live in is always in the worst case scenario, but if no project happens, for whatever reason, and we end up doing this, what ends up happening is we have a plot of land out there that's owned by Tryon Meadow LLC, that has nothing on it except for infrastructure, but we're not paying for it. The idea behind developer-backed bond is for the TIF that is generated then gets turned over to the developer to pay off the bond that he is holding for this project. So that therein becomes the incentive for the developer not to not do anything, but rather to actually build this up the way he's committed to. The other thing about the project, and I think in terms of the numerous conversations that we've had with John and his counsel, has been clearly the development agreement is a clear partnership, and a sequential type of partnership, in that, yes, there are certain things we do on the front end, but once the actual infrastructure, or once the bond has actually been obtained by the developer and approved by the city, then it becomes a drawdown from that based on expenditures by the developer, but from the city's viewpoint, being able to evaluate to make sure that, yes, they were done in compliance with the city requirements for, say, water lines, for pipes, for sewers, etc. So again, there's, and I know that the one word would be, well, there's an accountability aspect to it, but the other side of that, there's also a partnership, starting from day one. going all the way to the end, 20 years from now on the commercial TIF and potentially 25 years on the residential TIF. But there's a partnership throughout the entire process between the city and the developer. And that's basically what the agreement calls for.
Thank you.
So what I'm asking you to do is, if you're in support of the project, the way it's been described, is that we need to approve the development agreement that I provided with you. I didn't make, but there was one last change, I think, in my cover memo to you yesterday.
Yeah.
If you look on the top of page 3, and I handed this out to you under the TIF pledge, that was somewhat modified, but again, to talk about the various kind of things of where giving rise to market value, market demands, and the overall distribution of the TIF proceeds. And that's really all that language clears up. But if you're inclined to approve the project, the development agreement pretty much identifies everything that we've talked about today.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation. Skylar, anything you want to mention?
I would just say, keep in mind that this is just the first step in the process. You still have to designate the area, create the TIF. You saw kind of John's Q1, Q2. There's a lot more steps that have to take place. And then you still, sorry about that, you still have to go through, sorry about that, I'm sitting in front of a dog park, probably the worst place ever to sit.
I'm a dog person. I have 2 myself, so that's funny.
He already voted.
That's right, yeah.
Yes. But I would also say we got to go through council to get access to the bonding, things of that nature. So there's still a lot of, this is, like I said, this is the beginning step, and there's still some things we have to do along the way. So
yeah, and that's why I think the current relationship, I said it from the beginning, you guys have been really moving in lockstep with us, and I really credit a lot of that to Clarence and Skylar, obviously, and Alan and everyone. We really appreciate you guys just being very responsive, and like you said, this is a long-term relationship, and we will definitely not let you down in terms of the pace at which we move, and we hope that you can continue to move in lockstep with us. And everyone's goal is to just create more quality housing, and we appreciate everything you've done so far.
Thank you for that. I would entertain a motion. May I have your copy, because I just have the insert I entertain a motion to approve the development agreement for Tryon Meadows housing project as we described today. Any motions?
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to approve the development agreement for Tryon Meadows housing project. We're going to go do a roll call vote. Sherry Wilson.
Aye.
Tracy Tillman.
Aye.
Sheila Matthias, aye. Clarence Hulse.
Aye.
Bill Gertner.
Aye.
We have unanimous support for your project, so you're off and running.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
We're
so
very
much.
grateful. Thank you.
thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next we have any public comment. Are there any members of the public online or present who would like to speak? Any members of the public? Hearing none, move on to commissioner comments. Any comments from the commission? I guess I would have a comment. I want to commend Skylar York for his hard work. This is my first year on the Redevelopment Commission, and I knew Skylar, but I really didn't know his skill set. And I know that the change in the organization of the planning department is going to change his job, but it's not going to really change his job at all. He does everything. And, he also does it in a way that is, he's really personable. His attention to detail is terrific. You can call him any time of the day or night to ask questions, and he never makes you feel like you're asking something that's dumb. He's really thorough, and his knowledge of his industry and all of the other industries that touch planning and redevelopment is really quite incredible. So I want to commend Skylar for his hard work and congratulate him on his not new position. Anyone have any other comments or questions? What's that?
I think it's been a great first year with all you guys. And
Oh,
working with
I
you
understand
guys.
your dog licked you while you were.
Yes, 12 years. So
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate it. And this is a good move. And honestly, Michigan City is growing right now,
Yes.
and the potential to grow is big. And we need to be hitting on all cylinders. And mayor's she's setting us up for success. So
That's
I
right.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, at this time, our next meeting is January 13th. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.